So hi, good morning. Good morning. What's that? I'm not getting it. तबीयत कल तो ठीक थी काफी. आज भी ठीक है. नहीं ऐसे नहीं मोड़ रहा हूँ, मतलब मुझे ईज हो इसलिए मोड़ रहा हूँ. So what was the last thing? Acha, Maurya's only administration we discussed. Then, so administration economy is also mixed kind of thing, and I need to talk about the society also. So what was the Mauryan society like? But first of all, few things related to economy. Most of the kind of that trade and business, they were governed by the guilds. Then, and guilds were also known as shrenis. This was the one word, and you can also write it as the guilds. Heading डाल के लिखो. So Shreni and guilds. So basically, what was that? That even today's time, there are the group of the people. For example, that somebody, that if a cotton industry is there, then so there is a group of the people who kind of that govern those cotton kind of thing. Then, so if there is a newspaper, so you know that Press Trust of India is there. So this is kind of a one particular grouping of the merchant and traders. It is known as the Shreni or guild. Then, so liko that you write that particular grouping of the traders and merchants, particular grouping of the traders and merchants were known as Shreni or guilds. Shreni or guilds. Then, you write, they not only passed on technical education, but also regulated the affairs of a particular trade. Also regulated the affairs of a particular trade. For example, that ज्वेलरी हो गया ना, ऑर्नामेंट्स आर देयर. सो ऑर्नामेंट्स का एक अलग से गिल्ड होगा. ठीक है, अभी क्या बोलते हैं और जो लोग ऑर्नामेंट्स बनाते हैं, goldsmith. ठीक है, so they do have that a separate guild of the goldsmith. Then they do have the separate guild of the artisans who create the idols and those all kind of thing. So different kind of guilds were there, and all these guilds, so there was one person who was called as the head of that guild, and he was called as the Jeshthak. So you write Jeshthak was head of the guild or Shreni. Head of the guilds or Shreni. Related to this guild or Shreni, there was a question in 2012 prelims. And here onwards, you will see that guilds would be there. Then, so this is one such aspect, that guilds were there. Then now we need to talk a little bit about the Mauryan society. We don't need to write some heading, but you need to know that Mauryan society. So as you have written that Megasthenes wrote that book, Indica, and it is one of the very important source of the information about the Mauryan society. So what Megasthenes has written in this book, actually he was confused, but that we need to write, because last year there was a mains paper, and there was a question about the account of the Huensang. Then, so you needed to write that what he has mentioned, be it wrong or right. That's a different thing. But if it is asked that what is there in his account, so you need to write. So now listen, what he said, what Megasthenes said, that Megasthenes identified few things very well. That these people, particularly Mauryans, were unorthodox. So particularly when they are unorthodox, so they were giving respectable position to the women also. Even some of the women were appointed on the official position also. Done. And then any crime against women, it was not tolerated by the rulers. This is one aspect. Another aspect was that he said that in Indian society there are 7 castes. Okay? In Mauryan society, not Indian, Mauryan society, there are 7 castes. And he said that these castes are artisan, craftsmen, artisans, then herdsmen, peasant, counselors, administrators. So actually he was saying profession as a caste. Can you see that ये तो profession है ना, artisan, ठीक है, craftsman, herdsman, ठीक है, philosopher. So these are the profession and he identified it as a caste. ठीक है. So here it was confused. He was confused between the varna and then the caste. So you write that Megasthenes very well observed that there was no instance of Megasthenes very well observed that there was no instance of slavery in the Mauryan society. Slavery in the Mauryan society. Then further you write, after that full stop you write that women were accorded respectable position in the society. Women were accorded respectable position in the society, and many a times they were appointed on high official positions. Many a times they were appointed on high official positions. Full stop. Then you write, moreover, any crime or violence against women and child was not tolerated. Done. So this is one such aspect. Then what about that tax evasion? One of the severe crime was the tax evasion. Okay? That if you're not paying the taxes, so there was a provision of the very severe punishment. Then apart from that, there were few people who were exempted from paying the taxes, and particularly it was the Brahmin class. Okay? So Brahmins were exempted from paying the taxes. So you write tax evasion was considered as a grave crime. Then after full stop you write Brahmins, old people and disabled were exempted from paying taxes. Then this is one part. Now come to the few initiatives that actually Ashoka started. Okay? So there was one initiative of the Ashoka, that Ashoka was interested in creating so many hospitals. And he created so many hospitals for the treatment of the people, and in these hospitals doctors were appointed, but at that point of time these people were not called as doctor. The name that was given to the doctors was the Bhesaj. Then so you write that Ashoka took initiative to open hospitals and large number of Bhesaj were appointed, and in brackets you write doctors or physicians. Bhesaj, large number of Bhesaj or doctors were appointed. Done. Then now again you listen. One of the very interesting thing was that since you know that Ashoka before 261 BC, before the Kalinga war, he was kind of very aggressive, and then he killed many of his brothers. He fought that battle in which 1 lakh people died. But after that there was a change of heart, and then after that battle the change of heart was not only for the human beings but also for the animals. So he is the first king of the India who created the wildlife sanctuary. Okay? So he created many wildlife sanctuaries in his area. Done. So you write that Ashoka was the first king. Ashoka was the first king who created who created many wildlife sanctuaries. Sanctuaries. So how you will be writing? S-A-N, wildlife sanctuaries. Then the last line you write, that last about that irrigation and everything. Okay? So you write Mauryan rulers. It's a general thing. Okay? So Mauryan rulers also took care of irrigation facilities. Also took care of irrigation facilities. Also took care of irrigation facilities and created canals and created canals and created canals. Then, so this is about that, what was there at this point of time. Now we are done with the Maurya's period. We will start with the post-Maurya, but here so many development would be there, and without the map it will not be very easy to trade from one point to other point. So just for your information, and this is not going to be the very exact, but a rough idea, that so that you know that who were the rulers in the north, who were the rulers in the east, and then the south. Then, so first you write the post-Maurya period. Post-Maurya period. And can I ask you one question, that Maurya period, we do call Maurya period after the Mauryas, then that because Mauryas were the ruler. But why we call this period, in the post-Maurya period, you have written in the timeline that so many people were there, okay? That so many people, some outsiders were there, some insiders were there. But why we call them, all of them, in the post-Maurya period? Why not name one and then name the period after that, but one particular dynasty? What is that? They were disintegrated. That is the main thing that you can say. They were disintegrated. Then means that actually you see that Indian subcontinent was under the rule of one ruler. That was the Maurya dynasty. Then after the disintegration of the Mauryas, it was divided into many small principalities, and many rulers were there. So, and no one was wielding as much power as the Maurya. Actually, they were not like the Maurya, then as far as the power is concerned. So that's why this period is a kind of considered as the shadow of the Maurya, and that's why the Maurya period. But often you will get that, though you're since history optional, those who have, so they get this kind of question, but it will not be in the GS paper. So listen, that they often compare the dark period of the world history with the dark period of the Indian history. It is not the dark period of the Indian history. You need to negate that point. Okay? So one by one we'll see that why it is not the dark period, because so many developments were there. General, what we can say, that there was more trade at this point of time, and there was more craftsman skill at this point of time, and there was more religious pluralism at this point of time. So keeping these three in the mind, we can negate the violence which resulted in this period. Then, so ये सब बस ऐसे सुनने वाली बात है, ये सब आएगा नहीं पेपर में, but I give you the general idea. So what we are going to read in this one, outsiders, ठीक है? And then here, indigenous ruler. So already we have created this, but again, first we'll talk about the Indo-Greeks, then Shaka, Parthian, and Kushanas. Here, two are very important, Shunga and then Satavahana. But बीच में कानवा भी है, थोड़ा discuss करेंगे, not very important, but still we need to discuss from the chronological manner. So these three would be there. If we look at these all on the map of India, so where they are located, Then you need to create the Pakistan part also. Time and again we need to create it because it is a part of the India. आएगा अभी रुको. So now one by one we'll see that where these all people came. ठीक है? और देखो एक time पे कोई नहीं आया. This is not like that Indo-Greeks came and at the same time Sakas also came. Who came first and then who was toppled by whom? So first of all, I will look at that side, Sunga. So Sungas, but obvious the Magad area because they toppled the which king? That Mauryas. Brihadrath was killed by them. So their rule started from here and then it was there till the Madhya Pradesh, this area. This was the Shunga. Then Satavahana. And Kanvas will also be there in between. यहाँ पे एक छोटा सा part होगा that over here, this area, Vidisha area, here the Kanvas would be there. When they will topple the Sunga. And after that, this area is the Satvahana. Then Indo-Greeks. So Indo-Greeks were the first to come to India. Their rule started from here to this point. This you can take even till Mathura. You can keep their rule. And this was the Indo-Greek. Then after that these Indo-Greek Sakas came to India and they captured the area which was there with the Indo-Greeks. Okay? So again the same map I'm creating. Sakas here also and then this part also. So here Sakas and then this part also Sakas. There were many branches but most important was this western one. Okay? So and slowly they usurped this area also in between. Now after that Shakas Parthian. Parthians were there for a very short time. Okay? And these Parthians were basically in this area, some part of that Iran starting from here, this area, this was the Parthian. And they were there for very short time. Then after that, the most important at this point of time is the Kushanas. And Kushanas, their rule, I'll use this color. So their rule was there from this side to this side and all of this Jammu and Kashmir, full of Jammu and Kashmir. Okay? This is Kushana. So it's for the rough understanding that where these people were located. And why overlapping maps? Because at different point of time. ठीक है? सबसे पहले Indo-Greeks आए. They were toppled by the Sakas then, and Sakas were defeated by the Kushanas, and that's why these all area came under the Kushanas then. But Satavahanas, their kingdom was intact. Sungas and Kanva, okay? Sunga and Kanva. So Sungas were there, Kanva toppled them, and then when Satavahanas came, so later on Satavahanas' reign will come to this point also. It will not go very north, but it will be there till here. And the Sakas, one branch of the Sakas, which was not defeated by the Kushana, it remained over here till 4th century AD in the Gujarat part. And this is the most important branch. So we will talk about this branch which is there. Not able to create map. So, see, you can do that even in the geography classes. What I suggest you that market में मिलता है map is there. You buy those maps and then उसी में कर लिया करो, ठीक है? That you create these all kind of things. And by the time, I know that it is not a very easy process, but when you practice within 2-3 months, it will be all yours. And very benefit of creating map is that in geography, particularly in the mains paper, you can't get kind of extra marks without creating a map. So there you need to create a map, and always there would be 2-3 questions. There is a scope of the map. Location of industries all over the world. So there you need to kind of that master the world map also. Then India's map. India's map. So there would be one question, and very often there is a question related to the rains, monsoon, and these all. So there also you need to master the map. So it is not said that कि पूरा एकदम जैसा map है वैसा ही बना दो. At least representative map you must create. ठीक है? One more thing which is said to regarding the map, at least you can create this part this way. See how the map is created. If you are not going to create the full map, so you can create the dabba style map this way. Okay? Yes, actually this is the strategy which is followed by the people. And then here you create this kind of thing, and then this. So this way, this is one map. This kind of map you can also create. पूरा एग्जैक्ट बनाने की जरूरत नहीं है, बट एटलीस्ट रिप्रेजेंटेशन होना चाहिए. ठीक है? सो देर आर मेनी आइडियाज. इवन लोग कॉन्टिनेंट के मैप बनाने को सिखाते हैं कि कैसे बनाया जाता है कॉन्टिनेंट का मैप. वी यूजिंग द अल्फाबेट्स. एम यूज करोगे, सी यूज करोगे, डी यूज करोगे. सो दे you can create using the alphabets. You can create the map of the continents, the South America, North America, Africa, everything. ठीक है? So ये सब ट्रिक लर्न कर लोगे धीरे धीरे. So this is how it is there. Now we will start with that. These outsiders, Indo-Greeks. Then so first you start with you write Indo-Greeks. Now listen. Can you tell me that who was the first Greek person who came to Indian subcontinent? Greek person. Alexander. Very good, exactly. So Alexander was the first Greek person who came to India. But this Indo-Greek dynasty, this is a kind of after the phase of the Nandas then and the Mauryas. So this is a new dynasty over here, Indo-Greeks, and they are also coming from the Greek area. And the today's Greece, which is there, that Greek area. So the first ruler who arrived in India was the Demetrius I. Then, so you write that Indo-Greeks started to arrive in Indian subcontinent by 165 BC. By 165 BC. 165 BC. Then you write Demetrius I was the first ruler. Demetrius I was the first ruler. Done? Now listen little bit about them. Okay? Listen little bit about them. That this area, where these Indo-Greeks came, so particularly this area is the upper part of the Pakistan, and this is the Punjab part of the Pakistan. This is NWFP, and this is the Punjab part of the Pakistan. And ये पूरा इलाका, this area is the Sindh, but it also includes this part also where Sindh is there. So basically they inhabited in the Sindh Punjab area then of the today's Pakistan, and they established their capital at a place. This place was over here, and the name of the place was Sakala. Okay? And modern day name of this place is the Sialkot. Then, so Sialkot was the capital of these people, and the most important ruler of this dynasty, listen, I'll dictate this part. So Menander, so we need to talk about Menander, but before Menander, you just need to write one thing, that abhi nahi likho, sun lo, that Indo-Greeks were the first people in India who introduced gold. इसके regarding बहुत सारा debate and discussion था. I just want to confirm that you don't need to buy the what is given in the other books. So there was some old NCRT. There is some old NCRT. In that it was written that Kushanas were the one who introduced for the first time in India, who introduced the gold. Done? And then in the new NCRTs it was written that Indo-Greeks were the one who introduced the gold in India. Done? This question was asked in one of the exams conducted by UPSC. SCRA, have you heard about that? SCRA, and then it was also asked in the NDA paper. So people were confused that with which to go about. So UPSC gave the answer. It is the Indo-Greeks. So we need to go by that only. Done. And you need to go by the new NCERT only. Done. So wherever there would be debate, wherever it is applicable, I'll tell you in the classes. Done. So here you write that Indo-Greeks were the first people. Indo-Greeks were the first people in India. Indo-Greeks were the first people in India who introduced gold coins. Who introduced gold coins. Gold coins. Then further you write the name of the person, and he was, so you write Menander. Menander was the most important ruler. Menander was the most important ruler of the Indo-Greeks. Of the Indo-Greeks. Then further you write, he established his capital at Sakala. He established his capital at Sakala. And in brackets you can write Sialkot. Sialkot. Then now listen, what is there about the Menander? That Menander was pursued by, there was one Buddhist monk at that point of time, and name of the Buddhist monk was Nagasen. Then so Nagasen pursued Menander, and he pursued him to join Buddhism. So in this process what happened, that Menander asked so many questions to the Nagasen, and Nagasen was able to give satisfying reply to the Menander. As such, what happened, that he was so impressed that not only he joined Buddhism, but also he changed his name to the Milind. Then he changed his name to the Milind, and this historical conversation is mentioned in a book. Do you know what is it? Milind Panno. Okay? Questions of the Milind. Then so this is there. So you write, Menander was pursued by a Buddhist monk Nagasen. Menander was pursued by a Buddhist monk Nagasen to accept Buddhism. And see, slowly these people are the foreigners. They are coming to India and they are joining the Indian religion. So how can you say that it is a dark period? The one that I debated earlier. Then, so it's not the dark period. They are actually very keen to learn about the India, and then what are the good things, they are joining that. Then, so same thing was done by the Menander. Then Nagasen to accept Buddhism. Then further you write, in the process, Menander asked many questions to Nagasen. Menander asked many questions. In the process, Menander asked many questions to Nagasen, to which he gave satisfying reply. Then further you write, as such, Menander accepted Buddhism. Menander accepted Buddhism and changed his name to Milind. Then you write, after full stop you write, the historical conversation between Menander and Nagasen is mentioned in the book Milind Panno. It's on the board. So Milind Panno. Mentioned in the book Milind Panno. Done? So this is about that, only this much you need to know about that, this particular Indo-Greeks. Now we'll move to the Sakas. Okay? So little bit about this. These all people. So Sakas do have one more name. So they are also known as the Scythians. So you write Sakas and in brackets you can write Scythians. SC by Scythians. Now, they came from the Indo-Greeks, came from the Greek area, that is particularly the present-day Europe. From where these Scythians came? Central Asia. Okay? So they came from Central Asia. And Kushanas and Sakas, they are basically the Central Asians. Then, so they are actually the kind of that you can say that they are the neighbors. But both of them came to India. And Parthians, they are again from that the western part of the India. That is the Iran, in between the Iran and the Greece part, Bactria area. So they were from the Bactria. Particularly Israel also. Okay? From the Israel area also. So वो बाद में लिखेंगे. But first you write about that Scythians. So you write Sakas started to arrive in Indian subcontinent by 90 BC. Started to arrive in Indian subcontinent by 90 BC. 90 BC. Then further right, they were also known as Scythians. They were also known as Scythians. And they came from Central Asia. They were also known as Scythians and they came from Central Asia. Central Asia. ठीक है? और नीचे, ऊपर, थोड़ा सा. Okay. Done. Now, we need to see that as you have seen in the map that there were two branches I created. Okay? So one branch was there in the this northwestern part of the India and one branch which was there over here also. ठीक है? अभी ठीक है, I think that. बैठ के देखो आप इस पे. आप वहाँ से देखो. तो just wait 1 minute. Actually there is a problem over there. ठीक है? ये कुर्सी ही खराब है, ये नीचे चली जा रही है. इसको चेंज कर दीजिएगा ब्रेक में. So where I was, so these Sakas, they started to arrive in India in many branches, and then there was one branch, most important branch was that this Gandhara and then the western branch, and then 2-3 more branches were there, but they all, except the western branch, all of them were toppled by someone. Okay? So we will talk about the western branch, but first you write that Sakas arrived in many branches. Sakas arrived in many branches, but the most important branch was the western branch which operated from present day Gujarat, Saurashtra, Gujarat, Saurashtra, Maharashtra. You know which area is the Saurashtra? Kutch area. Okay? So this area. And then the lower part is the Kathiawad. Okay? So there are two. Lower part is the Kathiawad and upper part is the Saurashtra. So this is there. Then now we need to talk about that very important ruler of the Sakas. So basically this branch had one very important ruler. You listen about him. His name was Rudra Daman. Then Rudra Daman was the very important ruler of the, most important ruler of the Sakas. And then there are many initiatives of the Rudra Daman that we need to talk about. So first of all, that Rudra Daman was the first, you listen, he was the first king in India who inscribed in chaste Sanskrit. An inscription was released by him and it was in the pure Sanskrit. For the first time in India, something was written in the Sanskrit, in the pure Sanskrit. Not on the paper, it is inscription. Inscription, where inscription? Some pillar, some rock, done. So, and that inscription is known as the Junagadh inscription. And there are many things which are mentioned in the Junagadh inscription. So we will write, but first you write that Rudra Daman was the most important ruler. Rudra Daman was the most important ruler of this branch. Most important ruler of this branch. Then you write, he is known for very famous Junagadh inscription. Junagadh inscription in Girnar Hills. Girnar Hills. Junagadh inscription in Girnar Hills. Then you write in, sorry, that this is the first inscription. This is the first inscription written in pure Sanskrit. First inscription written in pure Sanskrit. Pure Sanskrit. See, before that, I will tell you a few things about that related to inscription. Not many people were writing inscription. The inscription trend started with the Mauryas and particularly with the Asoka. So Asoka was the one who was very kind of keen about writing the inscription and the rock edicts. But at his point of time, Sanskrit was not the language. You have already written yesterday that what were the languages? Pali, Prakrit, Greek and Aramaic. Done. So when he came over here, he accepted Hinduism and then he started to write it in the Sanskrit. Done. So that's how it was there. So now the next part is that you write what is there in the Junagadh inscription. So you write in this inscription he mentions that he repaired very famous Sudarshan Lake, and so he repaired this lake. He did not created this lake. Any idea that who created this lake? Any idea? It was Chandragupta Maurya. Okay? There was one brother of the Chandragupta Maurya, Pushyagupta Maurya. So basically the king's name we are going to write. He was the governor of this area when the Mauryas were there. So on the orders of the Chandragupta Maurya, he created this one. Okay? You can write it in the brackets. It was created by brother of Chandragupta Maurya. It was created by brother of Chandragupta Maurya, Pushyagupta Maurya. Brother of Chandragupta Maurya, Pushyagupta Maurya. Sorry. So Pushyagupta Maurya, brackets closed. And later on, when there would be, we'll be there in the Gupta. So once again, we will mention about this Sudarshan Lake. Done. So this is a very important lake and one of the very important source of the water, fresh water for the people who were there in the Kathiawad. Done. So this is mentioned. Then after that, not only he has mentioned the repairment of this Kathiawad lake, and that is the Sudarshan Lake. The another part that he has mentioned over here, that it is mentioned that Rudra Daman defeated Satavahana ruler. Done. Abhi likhna nahi. Just you listen. That Satavahana ruler, and name of that Satavahana ruler was the Vasishthiputra Satkarni. Vasishthiputra. Yes. So Satkarni. So Vasishthiputra Satkarni, and not just one time but two times. So twice he defeated Vasishthiputra Satkarni, but every time he spared the life of the Vasishthiputra Satkarni. The reason was that why he spared life, there was a matrimonial alliance between the two kingdoms. Done. So that's why he spared his life. So this is also mentioned in the inscription. And this time, it's a long time that since there is a question from the inscription. We are this time there was one Kangana Halli. And now again we are expecting that some question must be there from the post-Maurya period related to inscription. Then, so you write in this one that he further writes that he defeated Satavahana ruler. He defeated Satavahana ruler Vasishthiputra Satkarni two times. Vasishthiputra Satkarni two times. But every time he spared two times. But every time he spared his life. Every time he spared his life, respecting the matrimonial alliance, between the two kingdoms. Respecting the matrimonial alliance between the two kingdoms. Done? Matrimonial alliance between the two kingdoms. So this dynasty actually survived till the 4th century AD. Then 4th century AD, and after that it was in the ruins. Then so till the Guptas, till the middle of the Guptas they were there, but after that they were actually annexed by the Guptas. So we will discuss again that in the Guptas period. So now come to the other part. These two we have done. Parthians you write. So you write Parthians. पार्थियंस. सो पार्थियंस एक हिंदी वर्ड है, हिंदी में इनको बोलते हैं पहलव, ठीक है, नॉट हिंदी बट जनरली इन इंडियन सब कॉन्टिनेंट दे आर कॉल्ड एज द पहलव, ठीक है. सो हाउ वी राइट PAHLAV, पहलव, ठीक है. सो यू कैन राइट देयर आल्सो नोन एज द पहलव. Then now why we need to discuss this particular dynasty? This dynasty was there. Now listen carefully that in 25th 25 AD they were there in India, and if you go by the world history, so 25 AD was the period of the Jesus Christ. He was alive then, and how many years he was alive? What was the age of what age Jesus Christ died? 33. Okay? So 33 was the age of the Jesus when he died. So but obvious that he was alive at this point of time. And what happened that when this dynasty came to India, so though it was located in a very small part, but what happened that meantime when Jesus died, so they started to propagate Christianity all over India. They started to send missions. So there was one ruler, his name was the Gondophares. He was the most important ruler of this particular dynasty. So what happened that during the reign of the Gondophares, Jesus was died, and at this point of time one saint from the Israel, he came to Parthians, and the name of the saint was the Saint Thomas, and Saint Thomas was sent to the South India to propagate the Christianity, and then he went to the South India. His grave is there in the Tamil Nadu, Velankanni. How you pronounce it? Velankanni, okay? So maybe I am not able to pronounce it, but Velankanni, and that is the part of the government program Hriday and then the Prashad. There are two programs which were run by this NDA government in the last term, 2014 term. Hriday was related to the heritage rejuvenation, and one was the Prashad was the pilgrimage pilgrimage rejuvenation and augmentation drive. Then so two were there, Prashad and Hriday, and Velankanni is the part of that. Can you tell me the grave of this St. Thomas, where it is located? There is a place called Mahilapur. Have you heard about that? It's close to Chennai. So Mylapore was the place where his grave was created, and then the church related to him was created in the Velankanni, and that's the first church of India. Then so that's why it is important. Then so you write that Parthians, though they were there in India, though they were there in India for a very short period. They were there in India for a very short period. But during their reign, Christianity came to India. During their reign, REIGN, reign. So during their reign, Christianity came to India. Then at the time of Gondophares, he is the most important ruler. So you write at the time of, and you can see the spelling of the Gondophares. So at the time of Gondophares, one saint from Israel, Saint Thomas, came to India. Saint Thomas came to India for propagation of Christianity. Which led to creation of the first church at Velankanni later, not at the time of his death, but later, after 200-300 years, at this place since he preached over here. So later it was created over here, Velankanni. Then, and it is very close to Chennai and the Puducherry. I think Puducherry, very close to the Puducherry. Which area? Far away from both, but it is on the eastern coast only. Eastern coast only. Then, okay. So southernmost means that close to Rameshwaram. Okay, so this area. So when he died, and this place was important because most of the preaching of the Saint Thomas was there at this place. Then, so this is there. So for only this purpose, these Parthians are important. And then soon they were also toppled by the when Kushanas came, so they were toppled. Everyone, all the outsiders were toppled by the Kushanas. Then, so now you write the Kushanas, and they are the very important. So, and Kushanas related one more aspect is there, their architecture, particularly the sculptures that they promoted. So separately that we will be doing it in the art and culture first class, that first 4 classes. So there it would be there, but here also I will mention. So you'll be mentioning here, elaboration would be there in the culture. So you write Kushanas. And Kushanas also, they came in 2 branches. They were not there, that they were not coming in just one branch, but there were 2 branches. One branch, listen, that one branch came little earlier, and that was somewhere around the 65 AD. Another branch was the Kanishk branch, which came in the 78 AD. But the beginning was from the 65 AD. Then we need to know the origin of the Kushanas. So Kushanas were also Central Asians, but originally, if we kind of go by the DNA profiling of them, so originally they were the Mongolians, okay? They were the Mongolians who settled in Central Asia, and then there was this ruler of China, Hong Ti. And Hong Ti, when he was kind of that in the, he was ruling in China, and he was about to create that Great Wall of China. So at that point of time, before creation of the Great Wall of China, these people were kind of that evicted from that area, and that's how they started to come to the Indian territory. Okay? First they settled in Central Asia, and then they started to come to the Indian territory. So that's how they entered. So these 2 branches were that 65 May, there was one branch that was known as the Kadaphi's branch, and then 65 AD, this is AD, and then 78 AD, another branch which came to India was the Kanishk branch, and this is the most important branch of the, not only the Kushanas, but also the, in the post-Mauryan period, they were the most important ruler. Then, so you write that Kushanas, Kushanas started to arrive in India by 65 BC. 65 AD. Then further you write, originally they were Yuezhi tribe. Originally they were Yuezhi tribe. Yuezhi tribe. You can see the spelling here. Yuezhi, Y-U-C-H-I. Y-U-E-C-H-I. And originally they were Yuezhi tribe who made Central Asia as their home. Who made Central Asia as their home. Central Asia as their home. Then, now the next part is that you write that they arrived in 2 branches. They arrived in 2 branches. They arrived in 2 branches. Full stop. The first branch was Kadaphi's branch. The first branch was Kadaphi's, I have written on board, so you can see. Kadaphi's branch, which was led by, so you write the name of the person, Kujul Kadaphi's, which was led by Kujul Kadaphi's. Which was led by Kujul Kadaphi's. Then further you write, 65 AD. They are the one who came in the 65 AD. Then, abhi Kanishk pe nahi hai. So, Kadaphi's, Kujul Kadaphi's. Then further right, he was succeeded by Vim Kadaphi's. He was succeeded by Vim Kadaphi's. And actually he was the important ruler of this Kadaphi's branch. Then, so we need to see that what is the contribution of this person, Wim Kadaphi's. Now listen, that when Wim Kadaphi's came to India, he also released coins. Then, and these coins were most of the coins were the silver coins or the copper coins. Okay? So, and some gold coins were also there, but most of them were the silver coins or the copper coins. But we are not going into that which kind of coin. What was there on the coin, it is very important. And so the coins which were released by the Wim Kadaphi's, two sides of the coin were there, you already know. And then as far as the coin is concerned, we don't say front and back. ठीक है, इसको बोलते हैं obverse and reverse side of the coin. ठीक है, so front side is called as obverse and other side is called as the reverse. Done. So on the obverse side of the coin, what was created, it is very interesting that a freestanding image was created. Then a freestanding image was created, and freestanding image with accompanied with a trident. Okay, so he is holding a trident, and then here my drawing is not so good, so you can understand. Here one animal was there, and that animal looked like the bull. Then, so there is a freestanding image. He is holding a trident, and there is an animal bull. So, but obvious, it suggests that the Kadaphi's people, these Kushanas, they were the worshipper of the Shiva. ठीक है, hunters तो बाद में बोलेंगे, but they were the worshipper of the Shiva, and they were the devotees of the Shiva. Same can be said about the Kanishk also. Then, so you write that Wim Kadaphi's released coins in India. He released coins in India. Then you write on the obverse side of the coin. On the obverse side of the coin. On the obverse side of the coin, a freestanding image accompanied with a trident, and a bull. Accompanied with a trident. Trident का मतलब त्रिशूल. ठीक है? So that's a trishul. You can see the trishul. Trident and a bull was created. Trident and bull was created. Then it suggests that Kushanas were devotee of Shiva. Devotee of Shiva. How many of you have read that book which was written by Amish Tripathi, Naga and Meluha? Yes. So they also trace the origin from the Central Asia only, the Tibet area. Okay? The Kailas Mansarovar. Even if today that whatever kind of that wherever the Shiva's place are there, so if you look at that, so actually there is a connection with the Tibet. Kailas Mansarovar, you must be knowing. Okay? So, and still in this area, people kind of that worship the Shiva. So, that's there. This was about that Wim Kadaphi's. Now, the most important branch was that this Kushana's branch, second branch, and that is the Kanishk branch. Done. So, Kanishk branch came. Now, listen. Kanishk branch came in 78 AD, and when they came in 78 AD, so particularly at that point of time, Shakas were there in the northwestern part of India. Kanishk defeated the western, this upper part of the Shakas, and to celebrate this victory over the Sakas, he started Sak Samvat from the 78 AD. So generally what happens that when the rulers, they defeat somebody, so to celebrate that victory, they start the calendar with their own dynasty. But here they started with the one who was defeated. Done. So you write that, and change paragraph, you write. So by 78 AD, Kanishk branch started its campaign. Kanishk. So only Tanishk में बस के जोड़ लो, टी हटा दो. So तनिष्क में क्यों होता है वो भी हटाना होगा. ठीक है. So Kanishk branch started this campaign. Then you write that they defeated the Nadan Shakas. Northern Shakas. Then you write, to celebrate this victory, to celebrate this victory, to celebrate this victory, he started Shak Samvat, Shak Samvat or Saka calendar, Shak Samvat from 78 AD. Why we need to mention Shak Samvat? Because this is the official Government of India calendar. Then, so Shak Samvat. Shak Samvat from 78 AD. One different discussion I want to do, and I want to know from your side also, calendars are related, okay? So, do you know that, what's the name of the calendar that we generally use, that January, February? Gregorian calendar, okay? That's the Gregorian calendar. And then the calendars which are popular in India, एक तो ये हो गया Shak Samvat, ठीक है? Vikram Samvat, ठीक है? Vikram Samvat is considered as the Hindu calendar. Then one more calendar which is popular in India, which is related to Islam, Hijri calendar, ठीक है? So there are these four calendars which are popular in India. One is the Gregorian, which we often use, ठीक है? English calendar भी बोलते हैं, और just one minute. So English calendar. Then the second is the this Shak Samvat. Third is the Vikram Samvat, and then the Hijri calendar. But we need to know the character of these calendars. So can you tell me that what is the character of the Gregorian calendar, the English calendar that you use? Character. Yes. कुछ guess करो. Yes. What you are saying? हाँ, इसी ट्रेंड. किसने बोला सोलर? तुमने बोला, ठीक है? So see, character means that तुमको ये बताना है कि you need to tell me that it is solar or lunar, ठीक है? So Gregorian calendar is purely solar. And for example, that most of the time you go through the newspaper, particularly if you go through the Hindu में तो horoscope आता नहीं है, astrology आता नहीं है, ठीक है? So particularly in the times of India. So basically, most of the people, English newspaper, when they kind of that give you that those astrology, so that is based on the sun sign, Gregorian calendar. Then, and what about the this Hijri calendar? First you tell me. Lunar, very good. So exactly, they follow the movement of the moon. Then what about that Indian Vikram Samvat, Hindu? It is solar or lunar? Lunar. So lunar. So I'll ask you, how many days are there in the Hijri calendar? 352. 352. Then 352 in the Hijri calendar. How many days are there in the Gregorian? 365 1 by 4. ठीक है? 365 1 by 4. How many there are in the Hindu calendar? 365 1 by 4. ठीक है? तो कौन सा होना चाहिए? But it is not solar. It is semi-solar, semi-lunar. ठीक है? I'll tell you. ये समझना, this is very kind of that. I'm expecting that within a year or two they can ask this kind of question. So इस चीज को ध्यान से समझना, that what is there. So we will take the case of the Hindu calendar and then the Hijri calendar and then Hijri and then the Gregorian. Now listen. साथ साथ में ऐसे ही कहीं पे लिख लो, ठीक है? This is semi-solar, semi-lunar. Semi-solar, semi-lunar. Hijri, it is totally lunar, and this is totally solar. So there is ease of kind of counting the days in this one. So basically, when it comes to solar, so what they do map that the movement of the planets, that particularly the Earth around the Sun, and how many days it take. Okay, so it takes 365.1 by 4. Then that is there. Then lunar, so they map the movement of the moon, means that in how many days moon is making one kind of circle. So 1 month according to the lunar calendar would be 27 days, 26 or 27 days. It fluctuates then. So 26 or 27 days. And then when you add up, so year makes that 352 days. Then in Indian calendar, overall, they map that the days should be, in a year, the days should be 365 1 by 4. But how they do that? That the months in the the months in the Hindu calendar, they are calculated on the basis of the movement of the moon. Okay? So months are calculated on the basis of the movement of the moon, but overall it is taken as the one revolution of the sun. So what happens that अगर जो moon से you are mapping the month, so but obvious that it is just like the Hijri calendar, that 26 or 27 days, okay? And it happens that in Hindu calendar, in Hindu, whatever months are there, Bhadra, Asad, Savan, these all kinds of things are there. So they are 26 or 27 days. So what happens that there is a crunch of, listen carefully, there is a crunch of how many days? So you add up, so 352 it is happening, 352, then crunch of 12 days, then again after next year, in this 2 year, 24 days, and then 2.5 year, 30 days, then. So there is a crunch of 30 days. Now what in Hinduism, what is done, that after every 2.5 year, 1/13th month is added in Hindu calendar, okay? And that month is called as Adhik Mas, or the Malmas. How many of you have heard this thing in your homes? Malmas. Your mom must be saying that this is the Malmas. Don't do any auspicious work in this one. So that's how that Hindu calendar, it calculates the days on the basis of the moon's motion, and later on it adds one extra month. So 2.5 साल के बाद फिर वापस आ जाते हैं सोलर कैलेंडर के साथ, ठीक है? सो देर इज अ अधिक मास. ओनली इन हिंदुइज्म देर इज अ कंसेप्ट ऑफ द वन एक्स्ट्रा मंथ आफ्टर 2.5 years. You got that? And that is there in the Vikram Samvat. But what about Sak Samvat? It is also a solar. Sak Samvat is also a solar. Means that it just corresponds to the Gregorian. You got that? Just correspond to the Gregorian. Gregorian में क्या है? That is solar. So वो पूरा month भी उसी calculation पे, और then year B. So this is how it is there. Okay, you keep this thing in mind, and the Malmas or Adhik Mas concept in the mind. You understood this part? Okay? All of you understood this part? So this is there. Now I will move to this other part of the Kanishk. So what you have written? What is the last thing that you have written? Sak Samvat. Okay? And in brackets you write official calendar of Government of India. Official calendar of Government of India. नहीं. हाँ, वो 1/4 कैसे ऐड होगा, यही पूछ रहे हो? हाँ. That is the Hindu calendar. Vikram Samvat is the Hindu calendar. Yes. Total days, अगर जो overall जाओगे 365, total days it is counted as a 365, ठीक है? See, it is semi-solar, semi-lunar. I'll make you understand in the break, ठीक है? Just continue with this part. So where I was, so what you have written, that official calendar. Now we need to move to the other part related to the Kanishk. So Kanishk, after coming to India, what happened that he was also the devotee of Shiva, but he, under the influence of the Buddhist monks of India, he also accepted Buddhism. And then in the very first year of his rule in India, 78 AD itself, he convened the 4th Buddhist Council. Then, so you write that Kanishk was a devotee of Lord Shiva, but under the influence of Buddhist monks, here I will be writing 2 people, okay? So Buddhist monks, Ashwaghosh and Vasumitra. Under the influence of Buddhist monks, Ashwaghosh and Vasumitra, he convened 4th Buddhist Council. He convened 4th Buddhist Council. 4th Buddhist Council in Kashmir. 4th Buddhist Council in Kashmir. Then further write, after this council, he joined Mahayana Buddhism. After this council, he joined Mahayana Buddhism. Mahayana Buddhism. We will be kind of talking about the Mahayana Buddhism, that what is there in the Mahayana Buddhism later. Now, you write few things about that. So you write that as per the tenets, T-E-N-E-T-S, as per the tenets of Mahayana Buddhism, as per the tenets of Mahayana Buddhism, he started to patronize Buddhist sculptures at Mathura and Gandhar. Buddhist sculptures and Mathura and Gandhar. So we will be talking about this, the Mathura sculpture and the Gandhara sculpture, not here, but in architecture. So Mathura and Gandhara. This is one aspect of that. Now, the next aspect is that during the time of the Kanishk, and we'll change the paragraph and then we'll write. Now, you listen. It is considered as the one more phase of the urbanization of India, because then some new cities emerged in India. There was one city which was there in the present day Kashmir. The name of the city was the Kanishkpur, and which later created the base of the present day Jammu. Done. So it was created by him. And then there was one more city which was there in the present day Pakistan, and the area is the Peshawar. Okay? So, and the name of the city was the Purushpur. Done. So that is the present day Peshawar, and then Kanishkpur is the present day Jammu. So these two cities were created. Moreover, at this point of time only, the land route which was connecting China to the Roman world was created by the Chinese people. That was known as the Silk Route. Then, so Silk Route was created, and he was the one of the beneficiaries of the Silk Route. So he traded with the Chinese world also, he traded with the Roman world also, and from India there were many commodities which were exported to these all countries, these all areas. So for example, cotton was the most important, and second was the spices. And spices mein ek tha black pepper. Black pepper was called as the Yavana Priya. Yavan means the Greek people, and Priya means that the one which was very favorite to the Greek people. So these all things were exported, and in turn what he was getting? Gold. Because Roman world was abundant with the gold. So India was getting the gold, and at this point of time, due to he was getting the gold, so he released large number of coin. Large, very huge sum of monetization was there at this point of time, and large number of gold coins were also released. And moreover, these gold coins were purest of the pure quality. Done? So this much you write in the next paragraph. So you write, so from where I started, what I said, the urban. So you write, Kanishk phase is also noted for urban growth in India. Also noted for urban growth in India. Urban growth in India. Then you write, during his period, two new cities emerged. So first you write Kanishkpur in Kashmir, Jammu Valley, Kanishkpur in Jammu Valley, and Purushpur, in brackets you can write Peshawar. Purushpur, Peshawar in Pakistan. Then, after full stop you write, at this point of time, the Silk Route connecting China to the Roman world was completed. Connecting China to the Roman world was completed. Then further you write, Kanishk utilized Silk Route. Kanishk utilized Silk Route to establish trade with Chinese and the Roman world. To establish trade with Chinese and Roman world. Chinese and Roman world. Then further you write Chinese and Roman world. Then cotton textile, muslin, cotton textile, muslin, and spices were exported. Cotton textile, muslin and spices. Muslin, you know, very fine cotton cloth, transparent cotton cloth, muslin. So were exported to the Roman world. Were exported to the Roman world. In turn, they received large amount of gold from the Roman world. In turn, they received large amount of gold from the Roman world. Then, full stop. Then further, after that you mention a large amount of gold from the Roman world. And then you write, you change paragraph and then you write that Kanishk period is also noted for, very high level of monetization. मोदी जी को पता नहीं था उस टाइम पे, ठीक है? So नहीं तो demonetize कर देते. So monetization, ठीक है? Very high level of monetization. Then you write, he released very large number of copper and gold coins. He released very large number of copper and gold coins. Then he released very large number of copper and gold coins. Then the last statement you write, the gold coins of this period were purest of the pure quality. I do want to tell you one more thing that which actually came at this point of time. Two things. One I forgot over there in the Indo-Greeks. So I'll tell you that when Indo-Greeks, this is something which is kind of that very interesting part, and then if you want to write, you can write. But sun lo pehle, what is there? So you know that this theater tradition, which started theater kind of thing, that earlier theaters were there. So in theaters, what was used, that this curtain was used. Then, and for the first time, curtains were introduced in India by the Indo-Greeks. Then, and theatrical tradition also, they brought theatrical tradition to India. So Indo-Greeks brought the theatrical tradition and the curtains in India. But what about the Kanishk period? What was something new which he brought to the India, and it became actually the part of the Indian attire? What is it? Nahi, circus nahi hai. Indian attire. What is attire? Cloths. Yes, very good. Exactly, cloths. So what is that? Kurta pajama. Okay, it was introduced by the Kushanas. You can write that. So, दोनों लिख लो एक ही जगह पे, ठीक है? On one hand, Indo-Greeks introduced curtains in India. On one hand, Indo-Greeks introduced curtains in India. On the other, kurta pajama was introduced by Kushanas. And even the long coats. You can also write kurta pajama and long coats. Long coats were introduced by the Kushanas. Then, so this is about that Kushanas. Then, so I'll tell you a few things about, you don't need to write, but sun lena, that after that Kanishk died, so what happened, there were two more rulers. One was the Vashishk and Huvishk. Okay? So Vashishk was the just after that Kanishk, and then Huvishk was the last one. And then after this dynasty came to an end. Then, so by 200, you can say that not by 200, by 250, it was no more in India. And this was the period, later we'll discuss that this was the period when Guptas are going to emerge in the North India, and they will consolidate their rule by 300. Then, so that we'll see later. But now we need to see the indigenous rulers who were there at this point of time. Sungas, Kanva, and then the Satavahana. Then, so now you write that part, Sunga, Kanva, and Satavahana. And after completing all the post-Mauryans, okay, we will talk about their combined trade then, and their combined features, that whatever that was there. Then, so there was very important feature of the trade routes which emerged in India, that we'll discuss. So break abhi, it's 10:25. 10-15 minutes more, then I'll give you the break. Okay, first you do the Sunga and then I'll give you the break. Then see, the general is there that I give break at 10:45. ठीक है? So वो थोड़ा better रहता है. मेरे लिए भी easy रहता है ना कि इधर तुम लोगों ने break लिया, मुझे अगला 1 ही घंटा पढ़ाना होता है. So you write Sunga, and here actually this part is interesting, Sunga. So Sunga, you have already written in the Mauryas that Pushyamitra Sunga was the founder of this dynasty, and he killed the last Maurya ruler, Brihadrath. Then, so again you write that it was founded by Pushyamitra Sunga. It was founded by Pushyamitra Sunga in 185 BC. 185 BC. Now we are going back to BC. Here this is not AD. So 185 BC. Then you write, he was a staunch Hindu. He was a staunch Hindu. S-T-A-U-N-C-H. Staunch Hindu. And it is said that he destroyed many Buddhist monasteries. He destroyed many Buddhist monasteries in Sanchi and Vidisha. He destroyed many Buddhist monastery in Sanchi and Vidisha. Vidisha, both are there in the Madhya Pradesh. Then, so I'll tell you a little bit about the Vidisha. Vidisha is going to be very important in this part, and this was actually the later on what happened. The Sungas, rather than Pataliputra be the capital of the Magad, they declared that Vidisha would be the capital of the Magad. Then, so Vidisha for very long period it was the capital of that area. Then, and then Vidisha is the area from where the earlier Susma Swaraj was contesting. Okay, she was the MP from this place 3 times. Then. Now this time she has not kind of gone with the same. So that is there. So Vidisha was there. So you write that Sanchi and Vidisha. Then further you write later on he made Vidisha as the capital of Sunga. Vidisha as the capital of Sunga. Then you write he revived the Vedic practices. He revived the Vedic practices and rituals. He revived the Vedic practices and rituals, and he conducted one Ashwamedha Yajna. Ashwamedha Yajna. Yajna you will be writing. Then, so Ashwamedha Yajna. Then further you write the details of this yajna, are mentioned in Ayodhya inscription. Ayodhya inscription. Recently in the UPPCS this was one question. Though I don't say that you don't write these exams. You write the state exams also, but a little bit is different from the UPSC exam. But dete rehna chahiye, theek hai? Kind of that you get some idea. So this Ayodhya inscription, it was there. Now I need to ask you that there was one very famous personality in the court of the Pushyamitra Sunga, and he happened to be the head priest of the Pushyamitra Sunga. Do you have any idea that who was that personality? No idea. So let me tell you, Patanjali. Yes. He was the head priest of the this Sunga, and he was the one who was behind this Ashwamedha Yajna and everything. Okay? So though he may not have said that you persecute the Buddhist, but he was there at this point of time. And at this point of time only, Patanjali, what he did, that he wrote a philosophy and he created this philosophy, and that was the philosophy of the yoga. Then, so he created the philosophy of the yoga. He also wrote a book, that the book was known as the Yoga Sutra, then, which is actually the book on the yoga. So he elaborated that thing, and he also wrote a book on the Sanskrit grammar. So all of you, most of the time people have read in the 6th, 7th, 8th classes that Padini's Ashtadhyayi is the most important book. Then, but more important is the book which was written by the Patanjali, and name of this book was the Mahabhashya. Then Mahabhashya is the commentary, and the meaning of the commentary is that it is the explanation. So it is the explanation of the Padini's Ashtadhyayi. Then, so that's there. So you write that Patanjali was the head priest of Patanjali was the head priest of the Sungas. Patanjali was the head priest of the Sungas. Then you write, at this point of time, he wrote a book, Yoga Sutra. He wrote a book, Yoga Sutra, which established, he wrote a book, Yoga Sutra, which established the yoga philosophy, yoga philosophy. Then further you write, he also wrote a very important, which established yoga, and then you write, he also wrote a very important Sanskrit grammar book, Mahabhashya, ठीक है, which was basically, he also wrote very important Sanskrit grammar book, Mahabhashya, which was basically commentary upon Padini's Ashtadhyayi. Then, so this is about the Patanjali. Now, the next part is that, now listen, you have written in the beginning that he destroyed many Buddhist monasteries. Then, and the same was reverted back, but by the third ruler. So before that, in between there is a person, okay? The son of the Pushyamitra Sunga, his name was the Agnimitra Sunga. He succeeded the throne, and then the love affair of the Agnimitra Sunga with the princess of the Vidisha, Malvika. It is mentioned in a historical book, Malvika Agnimitra, and same was the question in the 2016 prelims, that they asked that Malvika, they didn't ask that who has written Malvika Agnimitra. Malvika Agnimitra is written by the Kalidas. So this they didn't ask. They asked that Malvika Agnimitra is related to which of the ruling dynasty of India. You needed to point out Sunga. Okay? So you write that he was followed by his son Agnimitra Sunga. Agnimitra Sunga, whose love affair with the princess of Vidisha, Malvika, is mentioned in historical work, Princess of Vidisha Malvika is mentioned in historical work of Kalidas, Malvikagni Mitra. Mentioned in historical work, Malvikagni Mitra. Then, now listen to the third ruler. So Agnimitra was there. After that, his son was the Vashumitra. Vashumitra was totally very opposite to the Pushyamitra Sunga. You have written that Pushyamitra Sunga destroyed the Buddhist monasteries, and Agnimitra Sunga kind of that he was not doing anything else, but he was just love affair. So So no time to look at the other things. But Vasumitra Sunga, when he came to power, so what he did, that whichever monastery, what all the monasteries which were destroyed by the Pushyamitra Sunga, he again reconstructed them. Okay? So this was a very good gesture of an Indian ruler. Then, so you write that the next ruler, Vasumitra Sunga, not only accepted Buddhism, but also reconstructed. Not only accepted Buddhism, but also reconstructed the Buddhist stupas and monasteries. Reconstructed the Buddhist stupas and monasteries destroyed by Pushyamitra Sunga. Destroyed by Pushyamitra Sunga. Then, so actually he was the last important ruler. Now listen, that Vasumitra Sunga was the last important ruler. After that, 2-3 more rulers were there. Bhadrapad, kind of that, so many names were there, 2-3 rulers were there. But what happened in between, at this point of time, when Vasumitra died, so after that, one of the minister of the Sunga, his name was the Vasudev Kanva. He was gaining power, and during the Vasudev Kanva was not declared as the king, but before that, when he was gaining power, so at this point of time, what happened, that one foreigner, one Greek ambassador came to India, and his name was the Heliodorus. So Heliodorus came to India and he accepted Hinduism. Okay? Not only he accepted Hinduism, but he also created a pillar in the Vidisha, this place. So there are so many names of the Vidisha. That's why I was telling you that this is an important place. And 3 times this question has been asked by UPSC. So it is known as the Base Nagar also. Vidisha is also known as Base Nagar, and it is also known as Bhilsa. And often UPSC changes this name. Sometimes they ask Vidisha, sometimes they say Base Nagar, sometimes they say Bhilsa. So at this place, Heliodorus, he erected a pillar, and this is the pillar. This pillar was dedicated to the Vishnu. And for the first time in India, some archaeological thing is related to Vishnu was constructed. Done. So it is the first evidence of the worship of the Vishnu, first archaeological evidence of the worship of Vishnu in India. His worship was there. It is there in the literature, but not there in the archaeological thing. So that's why it was important. So you write that during the end rule of the Sungas, a Greek ambassador, so you write his name, Heliodorus, Helio, Helio, and then Dorus. Heliodorus came to India. Then you write, with him, large number of foreigners converted to Hinduism. Under the influence of Vasudev Kanva. Under the influence of Vasudev Kanva. Then further write, after full stop you write, Heliodorus erected a pillar at Vidisha, and you write these 2 names also, Base Nagar and Bhilsa. At Vidisha, Base Nagar or Bhilsa, erected a pillar at Vidisha, Base Nagar or Bhilsa to mark the worship of Vishnu. To mark the worship of Vishnu. Then further you write the name of this pillar. This pillar came to be known as Garud Dhwaj. Do you understand why this name was given, Garud Dhwaj? Why? vehicle of the Vishnu. Garuda is a bird which is the vehicle of the Vishnu. Then, so Garud Dhwaj. Then you write, after full stop you write, it is considered as first archaeological. It is considered as first archaeological evidence of worship of Vishnu. First archaeological evidence of worship of Vishnu in India. Then only last line, one thing you need to write, just a reference to the Kanva. Okay? They were not there for a long time, only Vasudev Kanva, who was the minister at this point of time. So he killed the last ruler and he became the ruler, and then he was there for the some time, and then this area was usurped by the Satavahanas. Done. So you write that in 75, change line, and then you write in 75 BC Vasudev Kanva. In 75, हाँ BC अभी BC चल रहा है, ठीक है? In 75 BC, Vasudev Kanva killed the last ruler of Sunga. Killed the last ruler of Sunga, and established Kanva dynasty. Kanva dynasty in Magad, which was there for a very short period of time. So don the headline, Satavahana, take break, then we'll continue with the Satavahanas. Okay? So Satvahans. Then, so now you listen that about the Satvahans, that first of all, see, though we have written in the timeline, I already mentioned you on that time that their origin was somewhere there in the 200 BC, and then they came into prominence somewhere around, somewhere in between the 1st century AD, okay? 1st century and 2nd century AD. And how they came into prominence, that they defeated this particular Kanvas, and that's how they came into prominence. Then, so you write that Satavahanas origin can be traced in and around Satavahanas origin can be traced in and around 200 BC, but they came to prominence in 1st century AD. They came to prominence in 1st century AD when they usurped the power from the Kanvas. Then there are many names which are given to the Satavahanas. So Satavahanas are also known as Andhras, and they are also known as the Andhra Bhrityas. Okay? So you write that Satavahanas were also known as Andhras and Andhra Bhritya. So they were also known as Andhras or Andhra Bhritya. Then, so Andhras or Andhra Bhritya. Then, the person who was there in the 1st century AD, who is considered as the real founder, his name was the Simukh. Okay? So you write that Simukh, Simukh, is considered as the real founder of this dynasty. the real founder of this dynasty. Now, listen that I don't know that I mentioned that thing or not, but one thing is very sure about the Satavahanas, that their history can be traced only from the Hindu religious text, and the name of the that text is the Puranas. Okay? It is not mentioned in the any account, but only in the Puranas. Okay? So you write that the major source of information about about the Satavahanas is the Hindu religious text Puranas. Hindu religious text Purana. 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 Done? So now we'll move into the other parts. So this is the initial information. Now listen that we will talk about that some of the important rulers and their initiatives. So first of all, there was one ruler. His name was that Gautami Putra Satkarni. Okay? And Gautami Putra Satkarni is considered as the most important ruler of the Satavahanas. Then, and because of his initiatives. So we will talk about his initiatives. But first of all, Gautami Putra Satkarni, he was considered as the protector of the Brahmins in this area, particularly in the Indian subcontinent. Okay? So he was considered as a protector of the Brahmins. And then his mother, the name of the mother was the Gautami Balasri. So she wrote an inscription, and inscription is known as सॉरी भैया थोड़ा गर्म पानी बोल दीजिएगा ठीक है किसी को सो she wrote an inscription. Inscription was there at the Nasik, and in Nasik inscription she proclaimed that Satkarni is the only protector of the Brahmins in this particular area. And later on it was also very much confirmed that Satkarni was very kind of that open to the freedom given to the women. And one thing is very clear from the name itself, that his name is Gautami Putra Satkarni, means that this was a matrilineal dynasty. They are taking the name of the mother rather than the name of the father. Then, and women were given sufficient freedom, a good amount of freedom at his point of time. Then the next thing was that his many initiatives were related to the coins also. So for the first time in India, lead coins were created. Okay? Lead coins. So lead coins were created for the first time in India for the commercial transaction. Before that, lead coins were not created. Silver was there in the circulation, gold was there, and copper was there in the circulation, but not the lead coins. Then one more initiative is there, but first you write a little bit. So you write that Gautami Putra Satkarni, Gautami Putra Satkarni was the most important ruler. Gautami Putra Satkarni was the most important ruler of this dynasty. Then he took the name of his mother. He took the name of his mother before his name. Which suggests that Satavahans were matrilineal. Stop here. I do want to talk about the matrilineal and these all kind of things. Then, so I will write three things on the board, and when the society classes would be there in your in this batch, so you'll able to understand more and more. But here you need to be clear about that, and which I'll be using time and again. So there are three kind of thing. One is that archaeal system. You just listen. Archaeal system. One is the lineage, and one is the local. Then you know about that. It's done in your classes. As a society is done in your classes. Oh, so that's very good for me. So archaeal is the authority, okay, and this is the inheritance and local residence. So these three things are there. So lineal, you are understanding, that's very good. Otherwise, pehle society hota nahi hai. So that's why people don't understand. So you have written that matrilineal. Then you write that his mother, Gautami Balasri, Balasri wrote an inscription at Nasik. His mother, Gautami Balasri, wrote an inscription at Nasik, in which she proclaimed that Satkarni was the only protector of the Brahmins. Satkarni was the only protector of the Brahmins. Then, further you write, after full stop you write, during the time of Satkarni, women were highly respected. During the time of Satkarni, women were highly respected, and they were given considerable freedom. Then one instance you write. After full stop you write the instance. So you write that even the intercaste marriages were not frowned upon. Intercaste marriages were not frowned upon. Then, so basically there was a good situation, good condition of the women at this point of time. Then this is considerable freedom. That intercaste means, that is one. And one more considerable freedom is there, if you want to know. They were allowed to work outside their houses. Okay. Means that they can secure their independent source of living. Yes, autonomy was there. You can also write this one. Okay. So, frowned upon. F-R-O-W-N-E-D. Then, frowned upon. Then, so, मतलब गुस्सा नहीं किया जाता था, नाराजगी नहीं होती थी. This is how it was there. Then now, one more thing you write, that women were also allowed to secure independent source of living. Independent source of living. Then now write about that, the economic initiative. So you write that perhaps, now next line you write, perhaps Satkarni was the first ruler who released lead coins for commercial transaction. One more initiative of the Satavahanas in general, not just that Satkarni, but Satavahana in general that we need to mention, that is that is going to start something in India and which will continue even till the British period and after the post-independence. Done. So what is that? For the first time in India, what they did, that in lieu of the service of the Brahmins, okay, whatever service Brahmins were given, so in lieu of their service, they were granted lands. This is the first instance in India, that earlier land was not granted for the service, but here it is granted to the Brahmins, not to the other people, but to the Brahmins. So it started a trend of the feudalism, okay, that Brahmins are getting land in far-flung areas, and now they have the ownership of that land. And slowly, in the Gupta period, this trend will increase. So Gupta period, what they will do, that not only Brahmins would be given the land, also the officers will be given the land, and it will increase the feudalism in India. And later on in the modern and the British India, you will see that it will take the form of the zamindari. Then, so that beginning can be traced from here. The remnant of that is there in the Satavahana period. So you write that during Satavahana period, you change line and then you write, during Satavahana period, Brahmins were granted land in lieu of their service. Lieu, how you write? L-I-E-U. In lieu of their service. In lieu of their service. Then, acha, uh, during Satvahana period, Brahmins were granted land in lieu of their service. In lieu of their service. Then you write, it was first time in India that land grant was given to somebody for the service. Somebody for the service. Then one last ruler I need to mention because of some other initiative. Okay? So one last rule of the Satvahana that I need to mention. There was one ruler, his name was the Hala. Okay? And Hala was the one ruler who was kind of that, not only he was a Brahmin, but he was also very accommodative to the Buddhist people. And then he wrote a very famous love erotic poetry. Name of the poetry was the Gatha Saptasati. This year only, I think somewhere around February, there was a wide coverage of this Gatha Saptasati in the Hindu Culture magazine. So we need to mention, पता नहीं वो कब UPSC पूछ दे, कब क्या हिंदू में आ गया, you don't know. Then, so that needs to be covered. So you write that one of the very important ruler of Satvahana was Hala. Hala, H-A-L-A. One of the very important Satvahana ruler was Hala, who was known for his patronage to architecture and literature. Then further you write architecture and literature. He wrote a very famous love poetry. Gatha Sapta Sati. And the language in which it was written, it was Prakrit. In Prakrit language. Gatha Sapta Sati in Prakrit language. Then in Prakrit language. So this is about this Satavahanas. Then, so this is all about the post-Maurya period which is there. Now, one combined feature I need to mention, that at this point of time we need to mention the trade. As I said to you in the beginning, the trade was more flourishing at this point of time. One of the reason was that Silk Route. Then many of the sea routes were discovered. I don't know the name of the person who actually found the monsoon winds, and then the kind of that he realized that this will help to the people to navigate to the other part of the world. It was somewhere around 45 AD. Haptus was the name. Exactly I don't know, but I'll tell you tomorrow. His name was Haptus or something. Around 45 AD when he discovered this kind of thing. So actually it was very easy for the people from India to go to the Arabian part and then also use the Persian Gulf to trade with those nations. And from the Persian Gulf they were taking the land route to the Italy, okay? Rome and the Venice area. So trade was flourishing at its climax at this point of time. And so many ports were created all over India. So I need to mention those all ports which are there. Huh? Which one? Hippalus, okay. I was saying Haptus, Hippalus. Is it right spelling? Double P, yes. 45 AD. It is around that 45 AD that he told about that monsoon winds. चाहो तो लिख लो कहीं पे short में, ठीक है? And heading would be the trade and commerce during the post-Maurya period. You write trade and commerce during the post-Maurya period. Trade and commerce during the post-Maurya period. Then you write that when Hippalus mentioned about the monsoon winds around 45 AD, mentioned about monsoon winds around 45 AD, 45 AD, it, after comma you write, it ushered in new avenues new avenues for trade. New avenues for trade. Done? And then you write kingdoms from India started to trade with Arabian nations. Kingdoms from India started to trade with Arabian nations, Greek and Roman world, Greek and Roman world, and also South Asia. Okay? So and also South Asia. Then now listen, बाद में लिखना that first of all there were two kind of trade routes were created. It was very well established at this point of time. They were known as Uttara Panth and Dakshina Panth. Okay? There were two. Uttara Panth means that the word Uttara suggests to the one which was there in the north, and Dakshina Panth which was there in the south. So two land routes were there. So land routes and sea routes also will mention. So Uttara Panth was there from the, it was running from that north of the Pakistan, starting from the Afghanistan until the end of the India. And here the end of the India, I don't say that northeast was not there. Here it is Kolkata to the end of the Bangladesh on the Bay of Bengal, this side. Then so this route was there, and another route which was there. So another route was there from the particularly the place which is there in the Gujarat. Have you heard about this place Bharuch? Okay? So it was starting from the Bharuch, and there was a area close to the Nagpur. It was known as the Patan. Okay? So from there it was there, and from Patan it was connected to the South India. Then so South India till Pondicherry, and some ports were there. So on the western side, Bharuch itself was a very big port, and the name of the Bharuch port was the Bhrigu Kutch. Then so this was one port. Then there was a port in the Kerala. Then the name of the port was the Musiri, that we need to mention. Then there was a port in the Kolkata. Okay? Just the Hooghly today. That what we say that what their area Hooghly. No. What's the name of that place? The port of the Kolkata? Hooghly. Hooghly is the river, and it is also the port. Yes. No. Haldia port. Yes, Haldia. It is Haldia, na? Yes, Haldia port. So that area was the Tamralepti. ठीक है, नया नाम भले नहीं याद हो, बाद में आ जाएगा, but we need to know the original name, Tamralepti. ठीक है, and then the Pondicherry and the Chennai area. ठीक है, so particularly the Pondicherry was known as the Arikamedu. ठीक है, so Arikamedu. So these were the important ports of that time. So you write that as far as the land route is concerned, there were two important land routes. So first you write Uttara Panth. Then, and in this you write, it was connecting the northernmost Pakistan till the place in Bangladesh, closer to Bay of Bengal. Then there was one place which we need to mention, which was the center point of this Uttarapanth, and that was the Kaushambi. Okay? So Allahabad today. So you write that Kaushambi was the center point. Kaushambi was the center point of this route. Then now next you write Dakshina Panth. Then you write it was No, connected नहीं. देखो, it started from Bhrigu Kutch. Bhrigu Kutch. It started from Bhrigu Kutch and connected Pathan, then Musiri. Pathan, then Musiri. Pathan in Maharashtra, Musiri, Kerala. Pathan, then Musiri. Then full stop. Then you write about the ports. So on the both sides of the coast of India, some important ports also emerged. Which are, so first you write again this Bhrigu Kutch in Gujarat, Musiri in Kerala, then you write Tamra Lipti in West Bengal, and Arikamedu, Pondicherry. Actually, this is the original name of the Pondicherry, Arikamedu. Okay? So, government was kind of unaware, otherwise it would have changed the name. Okay? Abhi bhi? So, what is that? No, that is not related to Arecanet. No, that kind of. No, etymological. That's a kind of it is related to some Tamil language. So there must be some meaning, but we don't know. Do you have any idea? Any meaning of that? Arika Medu? What is Medu? What is it? Okay. Uphill. Okay. Uphill. Like a plateau. Okay. Above. So it is high platform. Basically it is high platform. Okay. I wanted to ask you one question, that if you go by the latitudes, Chennai is above Bangalore or Bangalore is above Chennai? Both close, but you need to tell this. Chennai is above Bangalore. Bangalore is below. Okay, this was the question. 2016. Yes. Delhi? What is that? This was also, this kind of question comes. Okay? What I meant to say, that you must be focus related to these kind of things that they do ask, and then also related to the highways. ठीक है? वो सब छोड़ दो, geography का काम है, मैं नहीं पढ़ाऊंगा. ठीक है? So let's come to the other part. So now you have written this thing, okay? And these trade routes, so these trade routes were very important for the internal trade also and the external trade also. Done. So you write, these all trades were very important for internal as well as external trade. Internal as well as external trade. Then one last thing I need to mention about that post-Maurya. See, you have written in the Maurya period the name of the person who was heading the guilds. At this point of time also guilds were there, but the name of the head changed at this point of time. At that point of time he was known as the Jesthak, and here he was the Sreshtha. Okay? So you write that guilds were still continuing. Guilds were still continuing, and it was headed by Sreshtha. So in Maurya period he was Jesthak, and at this point of time he is a Shrestha. Then, so this is all about the post-Mauryan period. Now we will start the Guptas. See, Gupta and then the Sangam period. So Sangam period we'll do tomorrow. We don't have the class. Saturday. No, we don't have the class. So I have class in, I think that in some other batch. So next week what we'll do, that Gupta's, next class we will complete the ancient and then we'll be starting the medieval. Okay, we will try. But today, one of the very big portion of the ancient is the Gupta period. So let's start the Gupta period, and few stories are there here. So that also we need to know. So you write the Gupta period and some initial things about the Gupta period. So first of all, the foundation, not foundation, but the beginning of this particular dynasty, it was there in the 230 BC. Okay? Sorry, AD, not BC. 230 AD, and the founder was the Sri Gupta. But they were not so strong so that they can rule all over the North India. So it continued. Sri Gupta was followed by another ruler. His name was the Ghatotkacha. Then, and Ghatotkacha's son was the Chandragupta first. So Chandragupta first is considered as the real founder of the Guptas. Then, so first you write that this dynasty emerged somewhere around 230 AD. Somewhere around 230 AD, and its founder was Sri Gupta. Its founder was Sri Gupta, who was followed by Ghatotkacha. Who was followed by Ghatotkacha. Done? Who was followed by Ghatotkacha. Then you write that in 319 AD, Chandragupta first consolidated his rule in North India. And established a central authority. Consolidated his rule in North India and established a central authority. Then further you mention, he is considered as real founder of the Guptas. Then, so now listen, we are going to talk about the 5 rulers. Then we'll see the society, polity, this kind of thing, okay, in the Gupta period. But first we'll look at the 5 rulers and then what they did. So the first was the Chandragupta first, second was the Samudragupta, third was the Chandragupta second, and then the Kumaragupta, and then the Skandagupta. Okay? So these 5 people we are going to talk about. So first start with the Chandragupta first, and his period was there from 319 to 335. Then, so what was his approach? So initially what he did, that he annexed all the small principalities who were easy to defeat, but he never went with kind of that outrightly full-fledged fight with the strong dynasties. For example, Lichavi, which was there in the previous period, still it is going to be very strong. So at this point of time what he did, that he followed again, just like the Bimbisar, that matrimonial policy, and he married a lady. The name of the lady was the Kumara Devi. Okay? So he married this lady Kumara Devi from the Lichavi, and to celebrate this marriage, at this occasion, a special type, for the first time in the Indian history, a special type of gold coin was released, and in this coin not only the image of king was imprinted, but also the queen was imprinted. So for first time, queen image is also imprinted. Done. And on the other side of the coin, the reverse side of the coin, this is also very unique, that at this point of time Hinduism was very much consolidated. So what happened, that he imprinted the images of the female deities, and these deities were on any one of the coin you may find Lakshmi, other coin you may find Parvati, other coin you may find Durga, okay, or Saraswati. So these images were also created on the other side of the coin. So this is very new thing which started in the Indian history. So you write that Chandragupta initially followed the policy of military annexation. military annexation, and defeated small principalities, Then further you write, later he started to follow the policy of matrimonial alliance. Later he started to follow the policy of matrimonial alliance, whereby he married Kumar Devi of Lichavi. Then full stop. Then you write, to celebrate this marriage, Kumar Devi of Lichavi, full stop. To celebrate this marriage, a special type of gold coin was minted. Minted. Full stop. Then you write, a special type of gold coin was minted. Then after full stop you write, for the first time, what is that? Minted. M-I-N-T-E-D. Minted मतलब सिक्के बनाना. ठीक है? That is the minting. The printing, there is a printing press and there is a minting press. ठीक है? So minting press is responsible for the coins and printing press for the 2000 notes after demonetization. ठीक है? So that's there. So where I was, what is the last line? For the first time, the image of the queen was imprinted. यहाँ imprinted है, ठीक है? So imprinted, image of the queen was imprinted on the coin along with the king. Then full stop. Then further you write, on the reverse side of the coin, the images of female deities, deity, D-E-I-T-I-E-S, deities like Lakshmi, Parvati, Durga, Saraswati. Lakshmi, Parvati, Durga, Saraswati was created. Then, so this is how it was there. Then, so Chandragupta first was, as you can see, that he was not there for a very long time, that within 16 years he died. But his son is going to be one of the strongest, not one of the most powerful ruler of the Gupta was that his son Samudragupta. Okay? So Samudragupta assumed power after the death of the Chandragupta in 335 AD. Then, and he ruled for the next 40 years. And it is said that, I'll create the map that how their rule expanded. So just see that how their rule expanded. So a rough map I'm creating that. So rough map I'm creating. See, initially the rule started when the Chandragupta first was there. It all started from here. Okay? This area, and that too in the Pakistan part also you create. So this area, particularly this much area was there with the Guptas. Later on, when Samudragupta came to power, so it became these all areas, pura ka pura, this all, and this much. So, and even the northeast also was under the Gupta. बस इतना बचा हुआ था. This much part was not there under the Guptas. ठीक है? Because here Sangama dynasties were there. Chola, Chera, Pallavas. Done. So we'll talk about them in the Sangam rulers next class. Done. So this is how it there. That map of the Guptas changed. So after the Mauryas, they are going to be the most powerful rulers in India. And nobody annexed the Indian territory like that Guptas except the Asoka. Okay? So that is there. So now, if you want to create, you can create. I'll start with the Samudragupta. Which one? Blue one is the first ruler, Chandragupta first. And this happened at the time of the Samudragupta. So that's the beginning. That's also the Gupta only. Then, so now listen. Samudragupta was the most powerful ruler then, and it is said that he won more than, now listen, he won more than 100 battles, but there is a reason behind that. There was one court poet of the Samudragupta, okay? His name was the Harisen, okay? And Harisen wrote a very famous inscription. The name of the inscription is the Prayag Prasasti. Okay? So Prayag Prasasti he wrote, and in Prayag Prasasti, Prasasti means that eulogization. You understand what is eulogization? That praising somebody and exaggerating. Okay? So with exaggeration, that just like that you must have heard in the movies, "Aap Purush nahi Mahapurush ho." Okay? So kind of that. So he was eulogizing Samudragupta into that. And then he has written that Samudragupta won more than 100 battles, and during his lifetime he never faced any defeat. So it is there. And then one more part which is there, we are not going to write, but what he wrote, that he also won the South India, and then he gave them back to them. He gave it back to them, okay? Which is not true. So this was the exaggerated part which he said. Actually there was no contact for some point of time. So it was not possible, but this is how eulogization is there. So you write that Samudragupta was the most powerful, Samudragupta was the most powerful ruler of the Guptas. Most powerful ruler of the Guptas. Then further you write, his court poet Hari Sen, his court poet Hari Sen, his court poet Hari Sen wrote very famous Prayag Prasasti. Very famous Prayag Prasasti. Prayag Prasasti. Okay? Very famous Prayag Prasasti, in which he eulogized. So you see the spelling here. Eulogized. In which he eulogized Samudragupta. In which he eulogized Samudragupta. Then full stop. Then as per Harisen, Samudragupta never faced any defeat. Samudragupta, as per Harisen, Samudragupta never faced any defeat. Never faced any defeat, and won more than 100 battles. And won more than 100 battles. Then, so this is mentioned in this Prayag Prasasti. Then a few other things we need to know about. So listen, that there is a one thing about the Samudragupta. It is said that Samudragupta and all overall the Guptas, they were the very deep believer of the Hinduism. Okay? Here I'm not using the staunch Hindus. Staunch Hindu means that you are not tolerating others, and then you are promoting your own religion. But they were the deep believers of the Hinduism. But at the same point of time, they were very accommodative also. So they were accommodating the Buddhist also. They were accommodating the Jainas Guptas also. This is a very good feature of the Guptas. So what happened at this point of time? Samudragupta was deep believer of Hinduism. He performed one Ashwamedha Yagya also. But despite performing Ashwamedha Yagya and deep believing in Hinduism, what he did was, he did something, it was very generous. So there was one ruler from the Sri Lanka, his name was Meghavarman then, and he was a Buddhist ruler. So Meghavarman requested Samudragupta that please grant me some land to create some monastery, one monastery, Buddhist monastery and temple in Bodh Gaya. Samudragupta not only granted him land in the Bodh Gaya, but he also funded him to create the Bodh Gaya temple and the monastery, then which was created by the Meghavarman. So this is the one example of the tolerance in India. 2016 there was a one question that love and tolerance is the intrinsic feature of the Indian society. Then explain with the examples. So there you needed to cite these examples. One example you could have written that the change of heart of the Asoka. You could have started from that. Buddhas, you could have quoted Buddhas and Mahavira, that their love and tolerance. Then Ashoka. And then after the Asoka, you could have written this one. And then one more thing. The last you could have written would be the Akbar. Okay? We will talk about that, the policies of the Akbar, Sulekul and then everything. Then so Ibadat Khana and these all kind of things. So that was though it was an easy question, I'll say it was an easy question, but what was important in this question, what kind of examples you are going to write, that will fetch you the mark. Then so this is one very good example of the tolerance and accommodation. Then so you write that he was deep believer of Hinduism. He was deep believer of Hinduism, and also performed Ashwamedha Yajna. Also performed Ashwamedha Yajna. Then full stop. Then you write, but he was tolerant and accommodative. But he was tolerant and accommodative. Full stop. For example, he not only granted the land to the Sri Lankan ruler, Meghavarman to create a Buddhist monastery in Bodh Gaya. To create a Buddhist monastery in Bodh Gaya, but also funded it. Bodh Gaya, but also funded it. Then, so this is how he was there. Now, another aspect of the Samudragupta that we need to know. So he was also very artistic person, okay? And then he was also very fond of the art and the literature. So this is reflected from the coins of the Samudragupta. The gold coins of the Samudragupta, in many of the gold coins of the Samudragupta, he has been shown playing a musical instrument, that is the veena, not flute. Okay? Veena. Okay? So you write that he was also fond of art and literature. Full stop. In some of his gold coins, art and literature, full stop. In some of his gold coins, he has been shown playing veena. Then, so this is there about that, the Samudragupta. Now listen, Samudragupta rule ended in the 375 AD. Then the next ruler was the Chandragupta II, and his rule started from 385 till 415. So his rule started from 385 to 415. You may ask a question. 10 years, yes. So I just want to tell you that what is there. So this 10 year, it is considered as a blot on the Gupta history. Okay? it was considered as the blot on the Gupta history, and then there is a reason behind that. So basically, Samudragupta had two sons. One was the Chandragupta second. Second you add, I have not written second. So second you add. So Chandragupta second, and one was, his name was the Ramagupta. You listen to the story. So Ramagupta was the elder son, and but obvious after the death he became the king. Then, so he was the king. Everything was going fine, and it was all okay. But what happened that there was one characteristic of the Ramagupta, that he was a coward. Then, and one more thing associated with him was that he was married to a lady. The name of the lady was the Dhruva Swamini, and she was considered as the divine beauty. That it was, her beauty was compared with the divine things, and then it was said that there is no one as beautiful as the Dhruva Swamini. Now you remember the sakas of the western part. Now this time not Rudradaman, someone else is there. So these sakas were knowing about the beauty of the Dhruva Swamini. Now what they did, that they attacked on the Gupta's territory. Then they attacked on the Gupta territory, and then they annexed some part of the Guptas. Then some part of the Gupta territory. So what happened, that he was negotiating the deal. Ramagupta was negotiating the deal. So what happened, that the sakas, they demanded, they said that if you give us the Dhruva Swamini, we will give you your territory. Then, and you know what happened? This particular coward, he was not only a coward, but he was an imbecile. So what he did, that he agreed to that. Yes, actually, he agreed to that. And this was actually something which Gupta never thought of. Then they were a very tolerant, accommodative rulers, and they do have the high regards, high moral, ethical values. But how come a lady is going to get traded in a war? This was happening for the first time in India. So in this scenario, what happened, that the younger brother was very unhappy. He reorganized army. He was the kind of the commander of the army. So he reorganized army, and then he he went to fight the battle with the Sakas. He attacked on them, captured their territory, and then they were pushed to the wall. So finally he defeated them. Okay? He thoroughly defeated them. Then he came back. And now this time he was relentless, and this time he was not going to sit back, but he also killed his brother. Okay? And married Dhruva Swamini. So this is how it was there. So, but do you think that this man Ramagupta deserved that lady? No. He didn't deserve that lady. Okay? So that's how it was there. So we'll not write the story, but we'll write the Chandragupta second. So Ramagupta, Dhruva Swamini, younger Chandragupta second. ये यहाँ पे. हाँ यहाँ भी वेटोरी मैरिज था. ठीक है? So now you write Chandragupta second. And there is one thing which is said about this particular person, that most powerful ruler was the Samudragupta, but he is considered as the most enlightened ruler of the Guptas, because that he was not at all concerned about the fighting, the battles, and annexing the areas. He maybe it was possible that he may have annexed some more areas, but he was more concerned about the development in the Gupta society. And he not only patronized the art, literature, architecture, but also the scientific things like the astronomy, astrology, medicine, surgery. These all kind of things were patronized by him, and he maintained several luminaries in his court, which includes the very famous Kalidas. Okay? So Kalidas was actually the courtier of the Chandragupta II. And then Amar Simha, he was also the novelist, and he was also the Sanskrit dramatist. He was also there. Then there was one person, his name was Dhanvantari. Okay? He is considered as that the person who is related to the medicine. Then there was one person, his name was Varah Mihir. And Varah Mihir is, yes, astrology, astronomy, and then also he gave the cloud formation theory. Then, so these kind of personalities were there in his court. Then, and this is the time when for the first time temple architecture is getting the impetus. Okay? Means that patronage is given to the temple architecture, and it will emerge in the area of the Madhya Pradesh and also the Bundelkhand of the India, UP, and then also the Kanpur of the UP. So in these all areas, temple architecture will start to emerge. Okay? Because of the patronization of this particular person. Then what about the Hindu literature? So majority of the Hindu literature was compiled down. See, I said to you that Vedas and these all kind of things were there. I needed to tell you that I think that I have told you in the class that Vedas were Shruti. Have I told you? The Vedas were Shruti. In the Maurya's period, they were written down. But at that point of time, the language was the Pali or Prakrit and in the Brahmi script. At the Gupta period, finally, these literature were written down in the Sanskrit. Okay? At this point of time, these were written down in the Sanskrit. And at this point of time, the script of the Hindi or the Sanskrit, which is there, what is the name of that? So it started to appear. Devanagari started to appear. And then Puranas were also written down at this point of time. Okay? Majority of the Puranas. There are 18 Puranas and majority of them, they were written down at this point of time. Done? So you write that Chandragupta II, you write his period and then you start writing about him. Chandragupta II was considered as most enlightened ruler of the Guptas. Then you write one more word about him. He is known as the Vikramaditya. He took this title. Okay? So you write that after ascending the throne, he took the title of after ascending the throne, he took the title of Vikramaditya. Vikramaditya. Full stop. Then you write, he is known for his patronage. He is known for his patronage to various spheres of growth, like so you start with that temple architecture, then religious literature, then science, metallurgy. I don't know it is right spelling or not. Is this correct? Double L. So metallurgy. Then after that you write astronomy, astrology, mathematics, astronomy, astrology, mathematics, medicine, surgery, etc. Then further you write, he maintained several luminaries. In his court. Who are? So you write the name of these people. Who are? So first you write Kalidas. Second you write Amar Simha. Then you write Dhanvantri. And then you write Varah Mihir. So Kalidas, Amar Simha, Dhanvantri and Varah Mihir. Amar Simha was Sanskrit drama and then Sanskrit grammar. He was a writer. First two were the writers. Kalidas, you know, and we will be talking about them in language and literature. That what all books are written by the Amar Simha and also the Kalidas. Okay? And then all those people who were there related with the Sanskrit literature. So Dhanvantri and Varamihir, these were the some important people. Varamihir ke paas mein thoda sa likh lo, that you write close to the Varamihir, that he gave the cloud formation theory. Now, so now listen, that one more development which happened during the time of the Chandragupta II. And this development was that for the first time in India, the first Chinese Buddhist traveler is going to come to the Guptas. And that was the Fahian. Huansang in the Harshvardhan period. How you will be remembering? H for Harshvardhan, H for Huansang. Okay? So here Fahian was there. So Fahian, he came to India then, and he toured all the Gupta territory, and then he wrote about that Gupta economy, society and polity. And basically actually whatever we'll be writing in the Gupta society, economy and polity, that is traced from that is taken from this particular book of the Fahian. So name of the book I'll write on the board. So you write that at this point of time, the first Chinese Buddhist traveler, at this point of time, the first Chinese Buddhist traveler, Fahian. So how you'll be writing Fahian? F-A-H-E-I-N. No, H-I-E-N. Fahian, this way. Fahian. Then, so Fahian came to India. Then Fahian came to India. Then you write, he wrote a book, Fukuoki. So, he wrote a book, Fukuoki, Experiences of the Western World. You write in the brackets, experiences of the Western world. And to China, India was the Western world. Okay? So, experiences of the Western world. Then, so he wrote a book, Fukuoki, which gives very important insight, about Gupta polity and society. Gupta polity and society. Then, so we'll mention that there would be separate headings regarding that. Then, now the last thing that I'll discuss today. So what happened that at this point of time, there was one son of the Chandragupta II who actually came very close to the Fahian, and he was very much influenced by the Fahian. So when Chandragupta was still alive, okay, so under the influence of the Fahian, his son Kumar Gupta, okay, he proposed the idea of creating the university, one university, and that university was the Nalanda University. Okay? So, abhi ye ruler nahi hai, but he is the one who is responsible for creating the Nalanda University. So you write, at this point of time, Kumar Gupta, son of Chandragupta II, was so influenced with Fahian, that he decided to create the modern university of, here I'm adding the word modern. In the next class, I'll discuss one question which was there in the 2015 mains related to modern only. Okay? So that's why I'm adding. So modern university Nalanda for Buddhist learning. Then full stop, change line, and then you write the last sentence for today's class. So you write that after the death of Chandragupta, Kumar Gupta became the next ruler. Then, so the next class we will start with that discussion. Okay? I'll tell you the question. Okay? एक बार सुन लेना that what is the question that it was asked in 2015, and it was one of the very tough, one of the toughest question which was there, not 15, it was in 14. So in 14 this question was there, and one of the very tough question of the paper 1. So what was there? Listen to the question, okay? And there is a reference of another university also. So now you listen that Takshashila, it was also the one of the university. So it said that Takshashila was located at the strategic location, and it was associated with the many famous personalities. Then, but as compared to Nalanda, it is not considered as the modern. critically analyze. So what does it mean to say that though Takshashila was at a strategic location then, and then also many learned personalities were associated with the Takshashila, but still it is not the modern is the Nalanda University, critically analyze. So this question we will discuss, okay, next day. And all the question related to whatever it is there from the ancient or medieval, or it is there from the art and culture, we will discuss that, which has come from 2013 until this point of time. Done? Chalo, thank you.